YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Harvey back. I know it's been a while, but I'm telling you, I'm excited to bring this to you. I'm excited to announce that this message is just going to be the start of a little series. You say, what's the title of the series? Well, I thought it was going to be another one. I thought that was the one God was going to bring to my attention first and, bring to you guys first. But that wasn't the case. And he'd been dealing with me on this one, and I've just been waiting for the green light because I knew these series of videos was going to be what was next for the channel. Excuse me. And so I've just been waiting. And this week, all week, it's like, this is the weekend. This is the weekend. This is the weekend you need to make it. This is the weekend you need to make it. And just pouring into me. So I can guarantee you, okay, what God has given me, I can guarantee you for at least a 5-part video series, okay? Could be more, but I know God has given me, and I got them, and I'm looking at my laptop here just because I want to make sure I talk about what God gave me and just the brief, insight of it, or not really brief, but give the insight of it, because I didn't want to take the chance of the enemy taking it from my memory just simply because, my mind is not perfect. I'm not the greatest at remembering things. And I knew, God, if you just give it to me, I'll write it down and you got it. Well, I'd be at work and I'd sit there and think about it. And then on my break, or if I went to the bathroom, I'd pull my phone out real quickly put it in there, and then go back to work. So the title of this one, in case you haven't looked directly below, is called Who Set the Standard? And you say, what are you talking about that? Well, this is for relationships, okay? This series is going to be on relationships and how we as Christians, or maybe even non-Christians, can be in a relationship the way God wants us to be in a relationship. And we can see things how he sees relationships, and we can be how he wants us to be in relationships. And now some of this, I can only speak from my experience. I'm going to, I might share a couple things, how it ties in, to give examples, which I always do that anyway. But I just want you guys to know that, this isn't my personal beliefs. This is not what I personally think a relationship should be like. This is what God has poured into me, what he's shown me in his word, and what I've gained from listening to other pastors and preachers and men of God who will teach on relationships, and what I've taken from them. And God has just allowed all that to be poured into me, and I'm going to share some of that with you in these 5-part video series. So I pray you enjoy. This one's going to be, I would love for this series to be, a little more laid back. You say, what are you talking about? I'm not saying completely make a joke of it. I'm just saying, I'll cut up a little bit more and things of that nature and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I want you to take what God has given me for your own use. I want that to happen for this series. Okay? So, as I said, this is week 1 of relationship advice. Like I said, not my opinion, but what God says. And my question, I put out a post on Facebook, Twitter, pretty much all over my social medias, asking, who set the standard for you? Not exactly what you looked for in a relationship. Because see, a lot of people think that's what standards are, is what you're looking for. That's not the case. It's standards is what something is built on. Okay, just like a house. Your standard, you're gonna have a foundation. You're gonna have walls and this and that. Those are the standards of what a house needs to have. And as you see behind me, I'm not in my own house this weekend. I was house sitting for my grandparents. But as you can see inside this house, all of this is different, okay? They're neighbors. The inside of their house is going to be different. What are you talking about? They all start the same, okay? Because they all have the same standard of building. Foundation, dirt work, plumbing, electricity, they all have the standards that every house has to have, or should have, rather. But on the inside, it's personalized. It's made different. It looks different. Just like all of our relationships, okay? My relationships should have the same standard as yours. We should have same type of foundation. We should have, or not every relationship is going to have the same type. Let me rephrase that. We should have a foundation. We should have parameters. We should have guidelines, so to speak. We should have a roof, something sheltering it. And just those things right there is what I want to hit on. So I'm not exactly what you're looking for. Because see, in this house, the kitchen is set up different from the living room. In my personal house, the kitchen is set up different from this one. Now, And you might walk in both houses, and you might like house A better than house B. You might like the kitchen in house A, but you might like the bedroom in house B. You say, what are you talking about? They're not going to be the same. There's going to be things that you like about one that you don't like about the other, okay? So basically, I'm going to wrap it all in. It's all going to make sense in a minute. But let's dive in. Let's see how God sets the standard for relationships, okay? Let's see what he has for us as a relationship, or what a relationship should look like on the outside. Because like you go down the street, you can tell that's a house, that's a house, that's a house. People look at your relationship, can they say that's a marriage, that's a marriage, that's a relationship, that's a friendship, can they tell looking on the outside what it's supposed to be? So point number one I want to make is that how God sets the standards, that number one, he's always by our side. God will always be right there beside us. And as in a relationship, okay, you need to always be by your partner's side, your spouse's side. You got to be there right by their side. That's just how it's supposed to be, because God is an example. God is love, okay? And if you are looking and saying that is something, that's a person I want to love, that's a relationship filled with love, it should look a lot like love. And if God is love, shouldn't a relationship look a lot like God? You say, what are you talking about? We're going to break into that, so stay with me. So how should it look like God with God being love? Well, if you want it to look like love, God is always by our side. So if you love that person, if you love who you're in a relationship with, you're going to be by their side. Through thick and thin, through good and bad, you're going to be by their side. Okay? And just like God, no matter what we go through in our life, Bible says, even though I make my bed in hell, thou art with me. So going through a rough time, God's right there. Going through good times, God's right there. Going through bad times, are you by your spouse's, partners, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever side, are you right there? Or are you off in the distance doing your own thing? Are you far from them when they need you the most? Because God, Bible says, he'll never leave us nor forsaken us. And he even sticks closer than a brother. Me and my brother are pretty close. I like to believe we're pretty tight. But God sticks much closer than that. Are you sticking to your spouse, your partner, like I said, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you are in right now in your relationship? Are you sticking by their side no matter what? No matter if, they're awful one day, they're awful for a week, they're awful for a month because they're going through something. Maybe they're just having a rough time. Maybe work is weighing them down. Maybe finances are weighing them down. Maybe this is weighing them down. Are you standing by their side saying, hey, I know it's rough, but I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. I support you. I've got your back. Or are you saying, I ain't dealing with that. That's not love. That ain't love at all, man. Because God will never look at you and say, I am not dealing with that. He will never, ever do that to us because he loves us. And if you want a relationship that's going to have good standards and good building, so to speak, you've got to be by their side, no matter what they're going through, whether it's promotion or whether it's being laid off, whether it's getting a raise or whether it's getting a pay cut, whether it's, them on the mountaintops or them way down in the valleys. Are you standing by their side? Are you there? Because see, personally, I won't say I'm a lot in a relationship, but I've got a lot of things that, I struggle, I still deal with in a relationship, being cheated on and stuff like that. I still have those issues that, like when I first started in a relationship, okay, is this person going to do the same thing? Is this going to be the same thing? That makes me hard to love because I'm questioning that person. That makes me hard to love. But I'm not going to, that's down the road in this message series. So you want to know more about that stuff? Stay tuned. So anywho, they're going through a bad time. Are you by their side? Are you right there next to them? Now I know sometimes you may not be able to physically be right there by their side. That's fine. But they need to know mentally, emotionally, spiritually, however you want to word it, you're there. You're a phone call away. You're a text message away. You call them and say, baby, I need you. I can't be there right now, but I will sit on this phone with you as long as you need. I will cry with you, pray for you, just talk, just listen, whatever you need me to do. Because see, that's what God does for us. We need to cry to him, he's there. We need to vent, he's there. We just want him to listen to us, he's there. We want him to give us advice, he's there. So he's setting the standard high right off the jump. And if you keep hearing this clicking, I'm sorry. He's there right off the jump, setting the standard, showing you need to be by their side. Number 2, I've got written down, he communicates. One of the biggest problems I find in relationships, and like I said, I'm not, coming with stones in my pocket. I'm not trying to throw rocks at nobody, okay? I'm just giving you what God gives me. He communicates. We communicate. One of the biggest problems, like I said, that I found in most relationships is that they fail to communicate. Simply because, and I'm not talking, just simple conversation. Hey, how are you doing? Now, even though that is communication, it's not the communication I'm talking about. Communication is you need to let them know how you feel. Okay? And you say, well, I tell them I love them. No. Stuff that bothers you, and my light just died. Stuff that bothers you, they need to know. Stuff that makes you happy, they need to know. If you're confused about something or you don't know about a decision, they need to know. You need to communicate with them. You need to communicate that. Just like with God, we need to communicate with him. Get, advice for the day, so to speak. We need to, get guidance for the day. We need to get leadership for the day. We need to get so much from God, and it all starts by simply communicating with him. Your partner, your spouse, your boy, like I said, whatever you're in right now, you need to communicate with him. You need to tell them, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. I'm bothered by this. I like this. I feel like we need to do this. I feel like we need to do more or less of this. We need to communicate, just like with God. You want to do more of something, say, God, if it be thy will, allow me to be able to do more of that. Allow me, give me the opportunities to be able to do more of it. Or if you're trying to, break maybe you have an addiction in the relationship. Maybe you're trying to say, God, I want to break this relationship. I don't want to do this no more. It's not no good for me. I want to quit. We got to communicate that stuff with him. Because see, God is ready right there, ready, waiting to help us in just our walk. And just my relationship with God, okay, he is right there saying, I'm waiting. All you got to do is call on me. I'm here. All I got to do, you just say, God, I need you. I'm right there. I'm listening. Being by our side for us when we communicate with him. That's how you need to be for your spouse. Something is bothering your significant other, you need to listen because they're trying to communicate. And when they communicate, be like God. He never makes us feel stupid for talking to him. A lot of times, the other person, like I said, it's just human things. We get irritated that they're expressing some bothers, some questionings of this, and that. We get so frustrated. Our flesh rises up and we get frustrated and we snap and we make that person feel so stupid for speaking out that they will never talk about it again, therefore hurting the communication and making them feel like you're no longer by their side. See how it's all starting to tie together? It works together in a relationship like that, okay? And the Bible says in Jeremiah 33:3, a lot of us know it, basically says, call and he will answer, okay? Call on Jesus, he will answer. Now, like I said, with us, I know a lot of times, we're busy. We literally cannot get to the phone right now. I technically at work cannot answer my phone, okay? If I get a phone call, I can't answer it. Now, if I think it's a dire emergency, like if my mother was to call me or I've got someone at the hospital and that person, I'm being called about that person, that's different. But as far as just generally being able to talk to somebody, I'm not allowed to. So I understand a lot of things in your life will make you not be able to always be right there. But here's the thing. They will know you're by their side and they know they can communicate with you if they just even reach out to you. If they are going through something and they don't even talk to you about it, that should make you check yourself and say, hey, am I being open and allowing them to communicate with me? Am I showing that I'm right there by their side through no matter what they go through? Sometimes we just got to self-check ourselves. Because a lot of times, I can think back now, my girlfriend at the time was going through something and she didn't tell me. I was like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I just felt like you would have been upset about it, or felt like I could talk to you about it. I didn't show that I was able to communicate very well. I didn't show I was able to be by their side like I thought I was doing. And a lot of times we think we're doing a great job, but at the end of the day, how our significant other acts towards us, and I'm not necessarily talking about anger and happy, but stuff like that where they attempt to reach out, or if they even reach out, or if they mention it, will show just how good of a job we're doing. On to the next one. The third one is he fights for us. Now, I'm not saying physically fight for your girlfriend. Now if she's, maybe getting kidnapped, or her boyfriend's getting kidnapped, maybe you might have to give him a little pow, uppercut, and, do a little rocky boom, boom, pow, or, whatever the case is. Or maybe even a nice little RKO. But he's just fighting, okay? This is more along the lines of spiritual fighting, okay? Because a lot of times, mentally up here, we cannot fight alone. We just can't do it. It's a battle that only you understand. And a lot of people might say they've been through it, they get it, yes, I know, but not every battle looks the same. Go look throughout history. The battles might have had similarities, with the fighting and the killing and so on and so forth, but not everyone started out the same. Not everyone had the same outcome. The same side didn't always win the battle every single time. And sometimes the battles were short. Sometimes the battle were drug out. Whatever, they were not the same battle. Some soldiers could have said, hey, well, this is what we did in that last battle. Why don't we try it this way? Sometimes it might have worked. Sometimes it didn't. It's all different battles. And you as a significant other, whether you're the man in the relationship or the woman in the relationship, you've got to fight for your significant other. I'm talking hit your knees and pray to God to guide them, protect them, help them, whatever they're going through. Because I know, like I said, you being there and communicating, as great, as much needed as that is in a relationship, it's not always going to help. You're just going to have to simply say, God, I've done all I can do. I've tried to communicate, let them know they can communicate with me. I've tried to show they could be right there I could be right there by their side. I bet I am by their side spiritually, mentally, and physically. And it's just not working. God, I don't know what else to do besides hit my knees and fight for them. You're going to have to do that for your significant other. If you truly love them enough, you will fight for them. You're going to fight and fight and fight. A lot of times it feels like you're going to have to fight every single day. Sometimes the battle will be won and you might not have to fight as hard that day. And some days you're literally going to have to wear your praying knees out and fight until you physically cannot speak, till you physically cannot pray no more, it feels like, or until you're spiritually battled out. Sometimes it's going to take that. But it all shows that you love them. Because sometimes we just can't fight for ourselves. There's times I can't fight for myself. I have to tell someone, hey, I'm going through something. Will you please pray for me? So on and so forth. There's times we just simply cannot do it. I don't care how independent you think you are. I don't care how independent you want to be. I don't care how tough you think you are, how much you lift, how much you squat. I don't care what you think of yourself. You cannot always do it alone. You need someone helping you out. You need a prayer warrior. You need a helpmate. That's what you're technically supposed to look for, is a helpmate. Someone who's going to help you through trying times, who's going to help you spiritually, who's going to help you grow spiritually, who is going to help you fight battles that you cannot fight. Someone that's going to help you make it through and keep pushing you when you want to quit down. I'm not talking angry push. I'm saying, come on, you can do this, baby. I believe in you. I love you. I'm praying for you. God's got this. God's got us. We can make it. We can go through it. You're going to have to fight for your significant other. Like I see, especially if you're two strong believers and the devil knows good and well what good God has waiting for you to, he will throw everything in the bag at you. He will bring up exes. He will bring up financial troubles. He will bring up car troubles. He will bring up every single thing he can to cause division, because he knows the word too. He says the Bible says a divided house will not stand. And the devil, ever since Adam and Eve, he has came in trying to cause division. And he will do everything he can to make sure that divided house falls. He will take whatever he can out from underneath that house, whether it be the foundation, whether it be the cinder blocks it might be sitting on, or whether it might just be lighting a match to the whole thing, trying to catch it on fire. He will do whatever he's got and throw whatever he's got. Silly, stupid disagreements, silly, stupid, petty arguments, little things he will make magnified and seem bigger to cause division in you and your relationship. He'll do it because that's just what he does. He has been causing division since Adam and Eve. That's all he's been doing. Next one, he loves unconditionally. Now this one, it's a lot hard for some people. All right, you don't want to love them when they like this, but you'll love them when they like that. You feel me? Like, you only love them a certain type of way. You only love them when they in the mountaintops, or some people, as weird as it sounds, love them when they in the valleys better. You got to love them both in the highs and the lows. You've got to. Okay, you can't love them when they're being great financially. You can't love them when they're, on the mountaintops, getting promoted, this, and that. And then all of a sudden the bottom falls out and they're down on the ground and trying to figure out which way is up. And you look at them and be like, I don't love you like that. It's just, no, I loved you better when you were up here, but I don't love you like that. Or maybe, a lot of times you'll get mad at each other for 2 or 3 weeks. Like, that's a long time, but you'll get mad at each other for a long period of time. And you'll say, I just don't love him when he's like that. I just don't love him when he gets all mad and puffed up at me. I just don't love him when you quit loving them like that, you ain't got real love. God's love for us is unconditional. I'm a sinner saved by grace. You are a sinner saved by grace. Bible says we all fall short and all fall short of the glory of God every single day, man. But he still looks down on us and says, I love them. I love him. I love her. He still looks down on us unconditionally. Go out and mess up. You just absolutely, I don't know, maybe you commit every sin known to man. He says, I still love them. Homosexuals, he still loves them. The drunkard, he still loves them. The harlot, still loves them. No matter what they do, he still loves them. Do you still love your significant other no matter what they go through? Because sometimes life is just going to hit. It's going to make you do stuff that you never thought you were going to do. You said, no, preacher, I never do stuff like that. Peter also meant those words when he told Jesus, I will never deny you. But guess what he did? Denied him 3 times before the cock crowed. He meant those words too. And you may have meant, you meant those words when you said, I ain't doing none of that stuff. I ain't about to go out here and cheat on my girl with some skank or whatever. I ain't gonna go out here and cheat on her like that. But then your girlfriend, spouse, significant other starts not showing you affection. Stops complimenting you. Stops making you feel attractive. All of a sudden, enemy's gonna throw some girl, some guy up in your DMs. Say, man, you look beautiful. That's gonna make you feel good. Before you know it, you lying in their bed making you feel real good. And before you know it, you've done something you said you'd never do. So you speaking from experience? No, I'm not. I'm just telling you and warning you about how the enemy will work because he's trying to cause that division. He's trying to cause that division. So you've got to fight for him. You've got to communicate. Say, hey, babe, I don't feel attractive no more. Can you start making me feel better about myself? You just quit showing me this affection. You quit showing me that I was handsome. You quit showing me that I was beautiful. You quit showing me all those things. Communicate with them. Be by their side. Comfort them. Say, I'm sorry. I love you. You're beautiful to me. You're gorgeous. You're handsome. You're charming. All those things, whatever. And then you got to fight for them. Pray over their mental. Pray over their heart. Say, fight for them. Say, God, don't let the enemy convince them of lies and simply make them feel like they're not beautiful. They're not pretty. They're not this. God, don't let the enemy let them think that I don't love them no more. That I don't think they're attractive. That I don't think they're handsome. I don't think they're beautiful. You just got to see, it's all tied together right here. It's all tied together because these are the standards God sets for us. And see, touch on this for a minute. Actually, no, I'm just going to keep going like this. Number 2, he exceeds expectations. Now, I'm talking, like I said, this is a hard one to keep. Why? Because I'm talking about a perfect God to imperfect people. I don't care what your mama says about you. I don't care if your mama says you're the most perfect thing to ever walk this earth. You ain't perfect, okay? I don't care what God tells you, you're the most perfect thing to him. You ain't perfect, okay? It just, none of us are. So this one is probably one of the hardest ones. This and the next one are probably the hardest two that is going to be a hard standard to go by, okay? So he exceeds, he does exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask or think. Are you trying to go above and beyond to show your significant other that you love them, that you want to be with them? Now, I'm not saying every single weekend take them to this big top fancy restaurant and absolutely spoil them with gifts over and over, buy them a new car. So I'm not talking about that type of stuff. Do you go above and beyond just to show your love? Whether it's something small, like maybe you don't buy flowers and all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to go buy my girl flowers one day and take them to her at work. Do you go above and beyond? Do you do exceedingly and abundantly above all your significant other could ever ask or think of you to show that you love them? Are you doing that? Are you thinking about them on your way home from, man, my wife, she really has had a rough day today. I might just take her out for lunch later just because she needs time to relax. Or you say, oh, I already do that. Well, good for you. Don't stop. Keep doing it. Keep going above and beyond to show your significant other that you love them. And the last thing, I'm going to try to wrap it up because I know I'm getting towards my regular mark, is this one actually probably is the hardest one. Because all of us as human, when something happens, we all get a little bit angry, we all get a little bit upset, we all get a little bit frustrated. And this last one I have written down, he forgives when we mess up. How many times in a relationship have you said something that you didn't mean to say? And I tell almost every girl I've been with, do not listen to my words, look at my actions. Why? Because my words do not always match what I'm trying to say. And it's gotten me in trouble sometimes. I can't remember an exact example, but I know there's been plenty of times I've had to say, no, honey, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant to say. It's not how it's supposed to sound. That didn't come out right. Or, maybe you forget an anniversary. Believe it or not, men, your girl will remember always. And if you forget, you're going to suffer the consequences. I don't know how you're going to suffer, but you're going to suffer the consequences for forgetting yours and her anniversary or her birthday. Or Mom, I love you. But if you even like mama, bro, and you forget what day it was you give her your class ring, she will be mad and frustrated about that because you forgot. That's a mess up. But the problem is when they forget, and women, you forget stuff too. Don't even act like it. Don't even act like y'all perfect, okay? Just because I know that's something y'all remember, y'all might not remember your husband's favorite color or his favorite type of brand or maybe even his favorite sports team. You might know, we all mess up somehow, some way in a relationship. So women, y'all ain't past nothing yet. Y'all just don't even be sitting there, hey man, preacher, he forgot my anniversary last week. He didn't even call. He didn't do nothing. I didn't even get no flowers for my anniversary. Women, y'all the same way. Y'all forget stuff too. Don't even act like y'all all this perfect stuff. Give me an amen out there to all the men. Oh man. But we all mess up in relationships. All mess up. From forgetting things to not doing something that your significant other asked to just simply saying the wrong stuff, man. We all mess up. But when your significant other messes up, are you going to show them forgiveness? Or are you going to be like, forgot our anniversary. I just ain't even going to talk to him. I'm going to give him the cold shoulder all day. Matter of fact, when he asks I want to do something, I'm going to tell him no. Ask him if I want to go out to eat. No. That ain't showing no forgiveness. That's showing you holding a grudge. And that's going to right there cause division, cause lack of communication, cause him not to want to be by your side because you showing anger towards them. And disclaimer, if it says, if that sounds like I'm talking to the women, Just because I'm a guy, it's natural. It goes both ways, okay? But you forget, like, that's not showing them forgiveness. It's not showing them love. It's not showing them God. So is your relationship showing the standards of God? Are they the standards of God? How many of these do you have? Did you have all of them? If you do, God bless your heart. But I guarantee you, not a single relationship out there can look at me and tell me you've got every last one of these. You might have, I don't know, say I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You might have a total 6 for 6. I doubt that. Nobody's probably going to have a 6 for 6. You might even have a 5 for 6. Good. God bless your heart. Try to get that 6 for 6. We should strive to have those standards to base our relationships on. But a lot of times we don't want that. We want to be our own self. We want to divide the house because, see, this, as you see right here, this is a double wide, okay? It's a double wide. So you take this half of the house and this half of the house and you separate it. You don't bring it together, like right here. You don't bring it together and you just separate it. That's not a livable house, bro. You can't live in a house like that. The house has got to be put together. So don't think, I'm independent. I'm going to have my own way. He going to have his own way, and we going to make this work. If this right here went together, this house would be divided. It would not be able to stand. So if you think your relationship is going to stand by you two being your own thing, you got the wrong standards, and your house is fixing to fall. But like I said, we might get more into that on down the road in this relationship series. But I pray y'all have enjoyed this. I pray y'all have got something from this because I tell you, man, God has really poured into me about these relationships and the standards and many things. And I'm just so excited. So for the next 5 weeks, starting whenever this video is able to get posted, I don't know if it'll be posted when I regularly try to post or if it'll be, maybe on a Monday after. But whenever it's posted, for the next 5 weeks, God willing, and God gives me the time to make them, we are going to hit these relationships. Bam, 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 bam. So all of July, book your weekends because you'll get relationship advice. In the first week of August, I think I'm doing my math right, you're going to get relationship advice. Why? Because I love you. God loves you. He wants you to succeed in relationships, and he wants you to have the best relationships possible. And the only way you're going to have the best relationship possible is if you got the right standards from the right man. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about him. You get your standards from the right place. Because see, here's the thing. I'm going to say this and I'll shut up. Your standards are what you surround yourself by. So if you're constantly or what you are able to look at, let me rephrase that. Your standards are what you see all the time. So if you're in the center of a wall, okay, everywhere you look, you're going to see that wall. And if your standards are what you see, you might have divorced parents, your friends constantly in and out of relationships, your mom or your dad bringing in another person every so often, or this doesn't stay together. This is if it's all the same thing, that's what your standards are eventually going to be. That's all you're going to think that relationships are, is breakups, divorces, hooking up, having different people every single night. That's what you're going to believe relationships are. But I'm here to tell somebody that is not the standard for relationships. I just gave you the standard for relationships. And I promise you, if you will do everything you can to look at this book, look at the Bible, more than you look at what's around you, you'll see that, and that will become your standard for relationships. So I don't care if your parents got divorced. I don't care if they married someone else. I don't care if your mom or dad brought in 15 guys this week, girls this week. I don't care. Your friends can't seem to stay in steady relationships because of this, because of that. Your friends are hooking up with people left and right. I don't care. Quit looking at that because that has become your standard. Look at what God says about it and let that become your standard. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. I said I'd shut up. So tune in next week. Should be the Saturday of every month. I'm going to try to make them every Saturday, 12:30, maybe even 1 o'clock, just depending on just somewhere in that time range. Be looking for the videos. And if you want to know about them, subscribe and turn on the post notifications because I promise you this thing, if the app works right, you're going to know when your boy Harvey posts. So thank y'all. Go do better in relationships. Get the right standards. Let's have relationships for God and that are Christ-centered and that look like God. Just like you drive down the street, you can tell that's a house, that's a house. Can they look at what you're in and say, that's a relationship, that's a marriage? Or if they look at it, see it's not together, that's not a house yet. That's close, but it's not a house. Anyways, I love all y'all. Stay tuned for next week. It's going to be a great series. I'm excited. I'm happy to go with it. I love all y'all. God bless.